Squawk Box this morning. Banking regulators pulling back some U.S. cryptocurrency guidance. This is interesting, guys, because the Fed said it was withdrawing supervisory letters that said that banks should seek advance approval from authorities before engaging in crypto asset and stablecoin activities. In addition, the Fed, the FDIC, and the Office of the Controllers of the Currency pulled back statements from 2023 that urged banks to be careful when it comes to crypto-related risks. During the 2024 campaign for the White House, President Trump promised crypto investors that he would have their backs if he was reelected. In a statement announcing the latest changes, the Fed said that regulators would look into whether new guidance to support crypto asset innovation was appropriate. But it means effectively that I think a lot of those letters had scared the banking system sort of out of getting meaningfully involved in crypto. And now they're saying, do what you like.
Hey, what's going up, Bull Runners? Welcome back to the channel. Imagine waking up to a world where your favorite altcoin suddenly backed by one of the biggest financial moves in history, but there's a hidden catch that could change everything. I'm talking about a storm brewing in the crypto markets right now, massive news that could either skyrocket your portfolio or leaving you wishing you had acted sooner. In today's video, we're diving into 3 game-changing headlines. The world's first XRP ETF launching in Brazil. XRP's burns are hitting a 10-day high with a surprising twist. And a major US bank opening the doors to Bitcoin and crypto for millions. These aren't just headlines, these are signals of where the money's flowing next. And here's the deal. Crypto markets move very fast. And if you're not paying attention, that you could miss the whole entire move. But don't worry, I've got you covered with the why, the what, and the how to stay ahead. So stick with me until the end because I'm dropping a free ebook packed with the altcoin secrets that could give you an edge in the wild, wild west of crypto. Plus, we will be heading over to X to find out all the breaking news in the financial markets today. We will also be at the end of this video jumping into the charts to take a look at XRP. Where is the next resistance and support? We'll also look at our short-term and long-term momentum waves. We're going to deep dive into XR burns skyrocketing to a 10-day high, XRP ETFs officially beginning in Brazil, and so much more in today's video. And if you're like most people where you don't have the opportunity to spend these hours a day in the crypto market news every single day like we do here and bring that to you in a condensed manner, make sure you subscribe today. And if you're feeling bullish about this current bull run, let me know by commenting 777 down below. And before we dive into all the news, let's head over to CoinMarketCap and check out the overall health of the crypto market today. The total market cap for the crypto market is at $2.97 trillion, inching closer and closer to that $3 trillion that we've been talking about for weeks now. Even though the markets have not moved significantly to the upside, there is a ton of volume going on in the markets today, over $105 billion. Fear and greed index continues to climb inch by inch, currently at 53, yesterday 52, last week at 32. Altcoin season index still not on fire yet. It is still Bitcoin season, altcoin season 15 out of 100. And that's because Bitcoin dominance currently sitting at 63.5%. Bitcoin ETF tracker, today's numbers coming in at $442 million to the upside. This week is absolutely smashing it with the Bitcoin ETFs. Today, 442 million reported. Yesterday, 917 million reported. The day before that, 912 million reported. And if we jump to a zooming out, look at this bar of volume right here. This is reminiscent of right before the pump at the end of November into December. And we are talking $2.6 billion coming into the ETF market. If we can have a continuation next week in the ETF markets to the upside, we should be seeing significant movement of all cryptos. Top 5 trending coins according to CoinMarketCap today. Number 1, Bitcoin at $95,000. Number 2, Ethereum at $1,800. Number 3, Solana at $151. Trump at $13. And BSV, Bitcoin BSV at 44. And taking a look at the top 5 cryptos by total market cap, Bitcoin coming in at 1.8 trillion, Ethereum at 217 billion, Tether at 146 billion. Number 4, XRP at 127 billion. Number 5, BNB at 84 billion, and Solana at number 6 at $78 billion. Heading over to X to check out the breaking news. As we showed you in the intro, the banks are in. Let's go ahead and finish off this video.
Here's the question. I mean, because it's the Fed doing that, it's not like an executive order where it's going to get whipsawed if another administration comes in 4 years, I would assume. But again, the politicization of it probably has some people
right.
concerned about whether the winds would change again at some point. I guess maybe it's better because it's coming from the Fed.
Well, I think part of it's coming from the Fed, and it sounded like part of it was coming from
the administration. That's what I
right.
don't understand. This was part of the campaign promises to do these things. Again, businesses just don't like getting whipsawed by changes in administrations that lead to huge changes in policy.
I don't know if this means that all of a sudden you're going to go to your local Chase on the corner and take the Bitcoin. But you can't take Bitcoin.
Look, I guess it does feel very different. It does feel very different in that crypto is becoming much more widely accepted, and maybe if they can get more regulation that kind of cements that, maybe it would make the banks feel a little better about it.
I mean, look, we used to interview Janet Yellen, and she would always talk to you about the risks of it.
Right.
By the way, Jamie Dimon would talk to you about the risks of it. So I don't know. It's interesting because there are people in the banking system who still have their own views of the risks.
But I think the banking system would also like to offer their customers whatever their customers want.
Look, Larry Fink was against it until he was for it.
It wasn't. Right.
Redo that. So interesting take there. And one thing that he said in the video there was people aren't going to be able to just go to their Chase Bank and buy some crypto. However, Citibank, on the other hand, one of the largest U.S. banks, will allow customers to invest in Bitcoin and various cryptocurrencies directly from their bank accounts. So pretty soon, I'm sure Chase will be on board, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and on and on and on. They're all having to come on board because if one bank is offering these crypto opportunities and the other banks are not, well, when people are more interested in getting involved in crypto, they'll change banks and start using the other bank instead. And also huge news today, NASDAQ calls for clear digital asset rules in the letter to the SEC. NASDAQ urges the SEC to create a regulatory framework that properly clarifies digital assets, arguing they can fit into existing markets with the right oversight. Also, crazy news right here. Helium is partnering with AT&T to provide its users with automatic access to Helium's decentralized Wi-Fi network. Now, if you remember this from the last bull run, Helium was one of those options where you could do mining from your house. You buy a Helium miner, you set it up in your house, and it sets up a Wi-Fi network, decentralized. A lot of people thought it was hokey and it was never going to make it. Now check this out. They're partnering with AT&T. And breaking news here, the SEC Crypto Task Force met with Ondo Finance and law firm David Polk and Wardell to discuss issuing and selling wrapped tokenized versions of publicly traded U.S. securities. So it is very, very interesting to see all of this traditional finance starting to really deeply merge with crypto and DeFi. Absolutely exciting. The future is bright. You are early. You are a genius for being here, watching this video, being involved in crypto early. A lot of people that have been in it for a while don't think it's early, but we are still so early. Congratulations to you on being a winner. Diving into our first main article here, XRP burns skyrocket to 10-day high, but there's a silver lining. XRP showed a notable increase in network fees, hitting almost 4,000 XRP on April 24th. The highest level in the previous 10 days. Although a spike like this frequently indicates high network usage and increasing demand, it may not accurately represent the current state of the market. XRP is currently consolidating close to that $2.20 level. The 100-day EMA, as historical significant resistance line, is located in that region as well, and that $2.50 level may become accessible if this barrier is broken. Additional information is provided by on-chain metrics. In addition to the burn spike, XRP has had a month-long run of comparatively high transaction counts, hovering around 2 million per day. This steady activity shows that the network is being used efficiently, which may also result in long-term demand for the asset, particularly if burn rates keep increasing and supply becomes more limited. In order to sustain bullish momentum, XRP needs to solidly break above $2.23 and hold there before attempting to break through the resistance zone at 240 and 250. A longer-term uptrend may begin if these levels are successfully flipped into support. The rising burn rate and consistent transactions volume for XRP indicate positive network activity, but a real breakout to occur, the price action must coincide with the indicators. Until then, XRP continues to be trapped between these technical resistance and solid fundamentals. And also, as we've been following, the XRP spider lines are also at $2.23 and $2.50, where we're trapped right now. And if we were to break to the downside and continue that downward momentum, we would be even potentially seeing $1.90 again and then $1.50. And we'll see that when we look at the charts here in just a moment. And in more positive news for XRP, the world's first XRP ETF is trading now officially in Brazil. Brazil's XRP ETF goes live. Hashdex first won approval to trade the XRP ETF in Brazil back in February, Although the firm has pursued several crypto ETFs in the US, it recognized Brazil as a potential focus area nearly 2 years ago. Today's Hashdex's efforts are bearing fruit as B3 announced earlier. XRP H11 is part of Hashdex's line of mono asset funds such as the ETFs BIT H11, ETH HE11, and Solana H11. The focus of these ETFs is sophisticated investors such as institutional investors who want to build crypto portfolios on B3. XRP H11 will invest at least 95% of its assets in XRP, although it will consist of direct and indirect holdings. So far, it doesn't seem like any trading data from the first day is publicly available yet, but Hashdex's site confirms that XRP H11 is live already. Nonetheless, Brazil has won a major accomplishment as the first ever XRP ETF trading in its markets. US-based regulators have been signaling their willingness to approve these products, but their applicants are still waiting. Compared to the drawn-out process, Brazil's green light in February and market launch in April seemed downright speedy. Last year, Brazilian regulators also approved the world's first Solana ETF, although it did not have much of an immediate price impact. Hopefully, this situation will not replicate itself in today's trade data. There are several worrying signs for XRP's price movements. If Brazil's new ETF lands with a thud of XRP as it did with Solana, this might spell further bearishness. Also, as of now, Polymarket is showing a 74% chance that XRP ETFs will be approved in the United States by the end of 2025. All right, so let's take a look at XRP in the charts. As you can see, for those of you new here, hey, bull runners, are you feeling FOMO about this bull run without the right financial support? We're here to change that. We're not just about funding, we're about growing your business together. Whether you're investing in crypto, kicking off a new startup, managing your existing business, or looking to expand, we have personalized funding that meets your exact needs. Imagine starting your business or getting capital to invest $100,000 to $250,000 at 0% interest. That's not a dream, it's what we do. We've helped countless entrepreneurs like you with 0% interest funding without needing personal funds, income verification, or collateral. With just a 680 credit score, you qualify. We understand that your business can't wait, so take advantage of our quick funding approach. We look beyond the credit score with inclusive approval process that sees the big picture of your business or investment potential. Our flexible repayments are tailored to match your business cycles, ensuring you can manage repayments without strain. With access to our extensive lending network of over 5,000 options, we're committed to finding the perfect match for your business or investing needs. Plus, you'll have our dedicated team by your side, guiding you through every step of the funding journey. Whether it's buying crypto, hiring new employees, or launching a new product, we're committed to your success. Click the link to connect with our expert advisors and secure your business's future now. There's a thing called spider lines, and this is trend lines set on the weekly chart. Got this idea from CryptoFace over on YouTube, and he uses this for Bitcoin. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick example of how it works. We're here on the XRP weekly charts. We're using the logarithmic scale. And what you do is you go back to the year of 2018, and at that previous all-time high and during the drop, that is where we're going to use for our starting point. We're going to go over here to our charting tools. We're going to get the ray option, and we're going to draw a ray from any one of the candles to the downside. And we're going to be using the pivot point of April 2021. So let's go ahead and pick one right here. This is the January 29th, week of January 29th candle, 2018. And then we draw the ray, we shoot it off of here. Okay, so that's one. Let's go ahead and grab another one. We'll do the candle right before it, and we're going to use that as the pivot point. We'll do another one to run right after it. We'll use this as the pivot point. And let's go ahead and grab one more below it, which is the one from February 12th. We'll use that, and we'll use this pivot point. And now you can see where price from 2018 with the pivot point of 2021, the high of 2021 as the pivot point, gives us lines into the future. Now we're looking at this right now on the logarithmic scale. And what's interesting on the weekly logarithmic scale, if we take a look at this one right here, that was our newest high. And that comes from the candle that came to us from January 29th. But now what we're going to do is we're going to switch off logarithmic and go to traditional. And we're going to go ahead and switch back to traditional candlesticks. And we'll also switch to the daily. And these are the lines that we just drew. And as you can see, they're really spot on as far as support and resistance. So let's go back to the already driven lines. And we currently do have a spider line as a resistance here at $2.24, which that has been a resistance for us in the past. Once on April 2nd, also on April 13th, then again in April 22nd, and then on April 23rd. So once we surge past the $2.23, we'll call it $2.25, our next spider line will be here at $2.50, which as you can see was recently a resistance at March 24th. It also had a nice little poke through, but unfortunately no continuation. So still holding as resistance here, March 20th. Same scenario here. It broke above, but then immediately back down on March 6th. So our levels we're watching to the upside is $2.25, $2.50. Then after that, we got this one up here at $2.83. So those are our resistance levels to the upside based upon historical levels in the past. We do have some good news now. We can confirm that we have broken above the zero line on our daily wolf pack. The last time we broke above the green line was November 10th. And if we look at November 9th, November 10th, right here, price was trading at 54 cents. So when that broke to the upside, we then had a nice huge surge. This is the first time we've broken to the upside of that level since we broke down all the way back on February 4th. After February 4th, we were writing bearish indication on the long-term momentum waves until just now. And if we take a look at Bitcoin, we can see that it broke above the zero line on Bitcoin on April 20th. And April 20th was right here, which also corresponded with its most recent support and resistance line of 85,171. But price broke out and now we are surging to the upside. If we take a look at the Bitcoin chart from the most recent swing high of the all-time high of 109,000 to the swing low of 73,000, we can see we have now returned back up to the 618 or golden pocket of the Fibonacci. So we are at a point where there is a potential of a failure here, or we could start to drop back down. However, if we surge through here, we're currently in a very important supply and demand zone as well. If we can break above this 99,508 and then surge up to the 786 line of 101,000, we could then see ourselves turning back to full-on bullish confirmation. We very well could be bullish confirmation already, and then we could be returning to 130,000. Now with Bitcoin, we can see here, Bitcoin traded significantly different than XRP when it did have its initial real breakout to the upside for long-term momentum wave. That was September 19th. And then it had a little peak below the center line here on December 28th, and then it tried to go up, came back down, made its move up for that final push to the upside. And ever since then, it's been riding bearish. But it has now also officially flipped bullish for the long-term momentum wave on the daily charts for Bitcoin. XRP following very slow behind. So we have not had that surge like we had in the Bitcoin charts. And that's why you can also see the Bitcoin dominance up at 63% right now because altcoins are not following along just yet. Our short-term momentum wave, though, has peaked out. And if we take a look back, when last time XRP broke above the zero line on the long-term momentum wave, we had this maxed out short-term momentum wave already as well. So there is some really great confluence here that we could very well see a nice surge in price for XRP after we break above 225 and then close a candle, like I said, up to the 250 levels. If we do the same exact thing and pull a Fibonacci from that most recent high to the most recent swing low for XRP, we can see we just bounced off of the 382 Fibonacci as well. But if we're going to be surging up and doing what we just did with Bitcoin, we could easily see a return to the 618, which is $2.71, the 786 all the way back at $3. So what I would like to see right now is a continuation green candle breaking a body above this $2.23 level. You can see we continue to wick at that level, but not a bodied broke. Last time we had a body break above that was March 12th, and then we had a continuation break here on March 13th. And that's when we had the return up to its highs here of $2.58. So technically, we do have new market structure, new bullish market structure to the upside. But to get real confirmation, we would need to see ourselves breaking above $2.54, a new high at that level. Then we've really changed market structure. So if we take a look here at the weekly charts, you can see we had continuous lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Now price is surging. The lower high that we have to break is right here, the body 243/250. Then we could get a new higher high on the weekly charts as well.